And I hate to burst your bubble on this, though, but yeah, they are doing that, but they're also apparently going back to some of their roots. And Robert Downey Jr. is apparently signed on to come back as Iron Man. And now we do our featured story of the night. So Marvel, apparently, we talked about this last week, a big shakeup there, talking about they had that retreat where they were saying they were back to the original Avengers. Well, now it's been leaking that Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans have signed on to come back as Iron Man and Captain America. And now this is still, like, they haven't made the official announcement, but they were already talking about the stuff leaked that they were already, having the idea of it coming back during this retreat. Now the retreat happened during all this. Now, would they have signed on earlier? Is it actually happening? I think it is. I think it's just a matter of time. And I think this just makes sense. Robert Downey Jr. apparently didn't even want Iron Man killed in the first place when they actually did the snap.
Why would he?
He didn't want to die. There was a whole battle going back and forth, and they thought it'd be a good idea for the ending of the storyline. He didn't think so. And then he walked away. And of course, he's doing other roles that are like Oppenheimer that are fantastic. He's a phenomenal actor, but he's Iron Man. He's fucking Iron Man. He really started this whole train, and people miss Iron Man. People were so upset when he died, and people have been calling for him to come back, and then people are like, well, maybe you don't need to do that. But honestly, they're already doing Secret Wars. The idea is he's coming to Secret Wars. Chris Evans, he needed time away. He'll come back too. But I think this is just real. I think this is happening. It's one of those leaks that have been floating around over the weekend after all this other stuff came out. They're like, well, they re-signed on before the strikes to come back because they've been amping up to figure out what they're going to do. Now, of course, Jonathan Majors thing came out. We're kind of slowed some stuff down. They haven't really been talking about it, but this just makes sense to me. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man again. He can be a variant. He can be pulled before he died, and they bring him to Battle World, and he fights, because again, Battle World, all the heroes, all the villains get together, and they fight because of Beyonder to see who is the best, good or evil. And of course, Iron Man is a very big part of that. Captain America is a big part of that. Spider-Man's a big part of that. And if you're going to do it, why would you not have Robert Downey Jr.? Of course, you'd have him to come back. So this is just like something that I'm waiting for Marvel to have the big release video, and it'll be the big thing. Captain America will be running, and he'll be flying, and it'll be a big old thing, and it'll happen soon. It'll probably happen after we have a deal, and they can actually start talking about it, and they start deciding who's actually going to be running forward, if they're going to have Kang, or if they're going to switch over to Doctor Doom, like the rumor around there. They're talking about doing that because of all the drama, and they said that Kang didn't do that well, but this just makes sense to me. I believe this is true. Honestly, I can't imagine it not being true. If you're doing Secret Invasion or Secret War, you're going to have Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. You have to. Cool, bring him back, Queen says. Yeah, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. It's happening. What do you think, Paul, right? You see this? You believe this, or do you not believe this? You think it's just like he wouldn't do it again? Would he not touch it again?
I do believe it's in the air. I think it's a possibility. Do I want it to happen? No. Like I just think he went out perfectly. There's no reason to bring him back unless they're desperate, which might be the possibility because Marvel's they're not having the hits like they used to without, the core 3 people or 4 people, or the core Avengers. And I think that it is a possibility because of that. But I really don't. I feel strongly that Marvel needs to move on and find a new way because it just ended so well. Why bring it back and do the same thing? And even the reboot we've been talking about, they're going to recast the entire Avengers lineup. I'm just like, come on, we already did it. Let's move on to something new, and let's do it right.
And that's
look at your mistakes that you made, which are plentiful, and go from there. Yeah,
but that's the big debate too, there, Paul. That's the big debate. Like, do you touch that legacy? Well, it was. You're right. It's a good ending, right? It's a great ending. Do you touch that? Does it tarnish everything he's done if you touch that and just bring him back? It could, couldn't it?
It could. It possibly could. Because let's be honest, Endgame was probably where Marvel should have ended their movies because it was like the perfect a culmination of everything that they built up to, and it went out on a high note. And everything after that, no, there's been highlights here and there. It just hasn't been as exciting building up to the next big thing. So maybe they should have just stopped. I know they would never do that because it makes $1 billion.
Too much money.
But it's like just too much money. But from an artistic standpoint, it's like, do we really need to keep going? I mean, if Robert Downey Jr. does come back, if they bring a dump truck of money and pull up to his house and he says, fine, I'll come back as Iron Man, he could, but he has to take into consideration. And that's another thing I would say, why he would say no is because he's doing other things that are smaller and more intimate. And I mean, he's already being talked about an Oscar for Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
So he's doing things that he wants to do. He's made that documentary about his father, Senior. I mean, I don't know why he would want to come back to this, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, 25 million bucks, maybe, you know.
He's already got just as much money as Tony Stark in real life.
It's true. He is pretty much Iron Man.
Yeah,
that's the question.
Yeah,
Sabrina, does he need more? Sabrina, does he need more money?
I mean, apparently everyone needs more. That's basically the format of life on Earth, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know. I love him as Iron Man. Honestly, I don't see. Let's be clear. Iron Man kind of put Marvel on the upward swing, right? Like they fucking, that's when everything started going really well for them. And they started making shit tons of money. And it was he was the embers that built the fire that Marvel thrived upon for years until fucking Endgame, right? So if you're Marvel, obviously you're going to want to bring back the kindling to start the fucking fire again. Obviously. I mean, why wouldn't you? Right? That being said, also, he's fucking awesome. And, you know, I would like to watch him in anything. So if he came back as Iron Man, not just for me, but like any person who was a Marvel fan that's maybe disillusioned or kind of annoyed or like, yeah, then whatever the fuck, I'm kind of over it. If they were like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is back as Iron Man, I'm gonna go see that shit. So it'll boost their box office, like, period. Like it'll give them what they want, which is money. You know, and it'll give the fans what they want, which is more of what they never wanted taken away in the first place. Yep. You know, but at the same time, I'm not saying that I don't disagree. I agree, Paul. Like, move on. That's it. It's done. You made your choice. It was stupid. I don't like it. And I also agree with like a lot of the stuff in the chat. You know, Edward was saying, Queen was also saying, you know, that
back all the time.
Yeah, there's like now that the multiverse has been introduced, that's it. You can do anything you want at any time. You can bring back anyone, anywhere. Oh, this person's from this timeline. It's like it's a shit show, and it's very convoluted, and it's kind of annoying. Ironically, the show that kind of delves into it the most is Loki, and it's like my favorite Marvel show.
It's so good.
I'm very conflicted upon this. I don't like. But no, because you have that makes it acceptable for every other offshoot of Marvel to do the same fucking thing, which is really fucking annoying. So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm confused. I'm super down with him as Iron Man. I love him in anything, but he was amazing. I understand why Marvel wants to do that. And to be clear, I will go fucking see it. However, is it a great idea? I don't know. I kind of agree with Paul that we should move in another direction, but you know, I'm torn.
Yeah, I agree. I'm torn too.
Though, I'm sorry. I just want to say that if Robert Downey Jr. came back, of course I'm going to be there opening night.
Yeah, no shit. Who isn't? Who isn't?
Yeah.
Take my money.
That's why
something to keep Paul.
That's why they're making it.
Yep.
Take my money.
I'm part of the problem.
You are.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, are you part of the problem? Are you there opening night if he's coming back to be Iron Man? What do you think? Is it worth it?
No, I'm not going to be there opening night. I do agree a lot with what Paul was saying, you know, about like, why are we doing this? You know, and we just got done discussing the amazing diversity that they're doing now with all these new, fresh superheroes. And we haven't even gotten into the LGBTQIA community of superheroes. It's like there's so much new, fresh stuff out there they could be doing now. And, you know, Sabrina said too, like, yes, Robert Downey Jr., his Iron Man helped put Marvel on the map. It made superhero movies what they are today. And I'm thankful for that. But do we really need another rich white 1% coming back to the superhero universe? Like, he went out like a boss. He can be applauded and revered and respected. Move the fuck forward. let's keep going forward. Keep going forward. Like, I don't understand why they want to do that. And also, like, I understand that with the multiverse, it does open up the doors to do this, to bring back, characters from the dead. It's what the comics do, but it's also when the comics get really convoluted and you start to kind of go, what the fuck are you doing? And that's why every 10 to 20 years, they just go, all right, Flashpoint, reset the fucking universe. Like, every fucking
start over again.
Time to start over. Like, really, this never happened. And it's like, come on.
That's why it's really hard for me to get into Marvel and DC nowadays. Unless a creator comes along and writes something amazing like Scott Snyder or something. But most of the time I stick to more like horror comics or one shots or, off the beaten path stuff. Invincible's amazing.
Anything Image makes.
Image is amazing. Yeah, everything.
They're doing a live action Invincible too. That's happening as well. They've been working on that.
Hell yeah.
So
they don't need a live action. The animation is fan-fucking-tastic.
It is. I just watched season 2, episode 1 last night, and
so great. Same here.
Perfect.
But everybody gets excited about it. They want to see the live action version. Who's going to play that? And as movie theaters go, they want to get people in those theaters, so they just make more live action projects. But
Iron Man, need another White Knight to come back from the dead. Like, we just don't need him. We got plenty of White Knights. Let's move the fuck forward.
I'm going to say though, I think he's coming. And I think Chris Evans is coming.
We'll do it.
Yep. I just think that even though they're worried a little bit, it sounds like after all these reports have come out, they want to bring back the OG Avengers. And of course, you need Robert Downey Jr. to make that happen. So regardless if it's good for business.
If they execute it well and it makes fans happy, I'm not going to be complaining. Like, good for the fans.
Yeah. I just don't see it happening. but hey, maybe I'd love to be proven wrong. We're going
to find out soon enough because we'll get back to work. When we finally get back to work, more announcements will come. This is just little stuff trickled here and there, of course. Rumor mill, because that's what happens. Like, people are just trying to put their ear to the ground and find some kind of news because of what's been happening right now. But a strike will end eventually. I'm saying Iron Man's coming back. Just saying.